another system on the way as well that we could be expecting. And when you have, a freshly burned fire and that hillside, could be a little bit difficult and concerning as well. So now we're going to toss to Chance Dickman. He's out there in the field right now. Chance, what can you tell us? What's the latest right now?
Well, the winds have still been gusting up here. We're near Painted Cave Road, 154. And I'm pleased to actually be joined now by someone who can give you a little more structured information than myself just trying to kind of depict it, exactly what's going on. I'm joined by Mike Eliason, Santa Barbara County Public Information Officer. And Mike, what do we see up here? What's this area? How long is this, this spot been burning and been affected by the cave fire?
Yeah, this fire's been chewing steadily towards this canyon. The road behind me is Painted Cave Road, hence the name Cave Fire. It started well to the east of this road, up East Camino Cielo, and it's been pushed down canyon throughout the day and throughout the evening. And now it's slowly, like I said, starting to chew its way towards the homes up in the Painted Cave enclave. So we have engines up there that are doing structure protection. You can see the winds are kind of calm right now. The wind smoke's kind of going straight up, which is good for us. We have that little bit of an onshore influence, but as the day progresses and the storm gets closer, we're going to have those erratic winds that are going to start picking up. So we're really going to be trying to hit this area hard in particular. And when daylight comes, hopefully we'll get some support from the air fixed wing.
As you mentioned to me just before we came on, you've kind of been all over the place.
Yeah.
What are some of the areas that have maybe seen the most damage, or maybe saw the biggest flames, or saw a lot of maybe the action early on or throughout the night?
Well, once that fire started, it started up again up off East Camino Cielo, and it was wind driven, and it was pushed down canyon, and it was going at a pretty good clip down that canyon, and it also created spot fires that jumped ahead of the fire, starting new fires. The fire, there was really no access point between the Cielo and 154, so we had to make our stand at 154, and then the fire came down along the area of Via Chaparral. It actually crossed Highway 154 at the Bridge to Nowhere, just north of Cathedral Oaks.
Yeah, we can see that. That's where we started our night.
Yeah, and then it also hit down Synegitas area, which is another road just a little east of Highway 154. And we had engines from the city fire department as well as Oxnard Fire Department are there doing some structure protection. We were joined by a helicopter from LA County Fire Department, one of their Firehawks, and did an amazing job flying, doing some drops right near homes, stopping those flames as they advanced on those homes. Right now, the big concern right now, as you can see over my shoulder, is the Painted Cave area, and that's where we have resources up there doing structure protection. We also have some strike team just down the road from the Los Angeles Fire Department. One of those engines is Engine 9 from Skid Row, which is the busiest firehouse in the nation. They're staged just down the hill doing some structure protection as well.
Yeah, that was one thing when we moved from our first area up onto 154 here was maybe the importance of the structure protection, and is there any word on how well they're able to contain everything that's going on up here, especially off of Painted Cave?
Well, up here is okay. It's plunking along in the canyon. It's not near home, so that's okay. Some of the earlier concerns were down off San Antonio Road, which burned during the paint fire. In this area, this vegetation here in the front country, this little pocket is some of the oldest vegetation. The last time it burned was over 30 years ago during the paint fire. Some of the other vegetation on both sides had burned within the last 20 years with various fires. The area that when it went down canyon, it went into that San Antonio Creek area that burned during the painted fire, and there were some homes that were threatened as that fire made a run through that wash. There were some homes that were being protected by the Montecito Fire Department and Carpenter Summerlin Fire Department, as well as Santa Barbara County, and they were doing a good job keeping those flames at bay, as well as it started to make a push towards those eucalyptus trees.
One thing we noticed up here on 154 too is, with as heavy as the fire and all the flames you could see up on the hillside, a lot of the drops were being done, or the ones that we noticed were being done sort of in the little canyons, maybe the little spot fires or the little flare-ups. Yeah. Is there, not saying one's more important than another, but is it just easier to do drops there to try to limit that rather than try to worry about such a big fire up on the hill?
Well, the problem with that is the fire's going to move quicker down those little chutes, so they want to stop and knock those down so they don't get a good head of steam as they start pushing those way down those little canyons. So that's why they're trying to work on those, and it doesn't get drawn down that canyon when those winds start to pick up.
As far as evacuations and everything is still in order, and we'll find out, hopefully find out more, around 7 o'clock is what we're hearing.
Exactly, and we want to thank everybody for heeding those warnings. It was a fire that started at 4 in the afternoon. Everybody can see it along the south coast. You can actually see flames. The evacuation orders went out. People listened. They evacuated in orderly fashion. People didn't wait around, which is what we request of them. And if you're ever found to put yourself in this type of situation, if you don't feel comfortable, please leave. We don't want you to hang out waiting to be told to leave. If you don't feel safe, then leave. Have a little 5-minute ready plan. If you get all your stuff ready to go, and then if you're asked to do so, please leave.
This area has seen so much, devastation. Do you think people try not to get immune to the evacuation process and think that, or have you ran into basically many people that are willing to get out because they don't want something to happen like we've seen in the past couple of years in this area?
Well, every fire is a little different. My first fire out here was an '85 Wheeler fire. So I've been to every fire in the county since then, and they're all a little bit different. This one didn't really roar down like the Painted Cave fire did. It did make a quick progress down the hill, but it slowed as it headed towards 154, which we were very fortunate with. The problem with this is with the fire stops in a day and a half, when we get those heavy rains that are predicted, now we're going to have a whole other set of problems, which could be the runoff, the debris flow. And so this 154, it doesn't take a lot to impact 154 on a normal rainy day. But with all this runoff, that's going to create a big problem for drivers. So we want to make sure that they're aware of that. And if you have those commuters that come from the North County or beyond that are working their way towards Santa Barbara, to take 101, to drive carefully, make sure that their tires are in good working order, that they have good windshield wipers, and to slow down, leave a little early so you give yourself that time so you're not going too fast, because the roads are going to be that much more impacted.
Right, and a majority of this fire has been fought at night because of how much the sun goes down. And so what is a plan of attack for when we actually get some sunlight and when it becomes day and you can see maybe more of what's going on?
Well, that's going to help us a lot. We're going to get some fixed wing here. That's going to help. They'll make those Phos-Chek drops that you see, the big pink retardant that comes down. So those will help paint that box around this fire and help slow the fire's progression. Once we get some daylight in here, which is only a couple hours away, we'll have a better handle on what's going on. They flew it with an infrared aircraft earlier, so they kind of have an idea of what the footprint looks like. But right now, once it comes up, we're just concerned with those winds as the day progresses and the storm approaches.
Now, I do have Dustin and Brooke with me, and while you're there, and I know I've asked Mike plenty of questions and a lot of questions, but if there's something back there that maybe I missed or you wanted to ask and relay to Mike, do you guys have anything that you want to know or that we haven't touched on yet?
Yeah.
You're doing a great job, Chance, so far. We're curious if structure situation right now, and then maybe the other thing of Southern California Edison, the main transmission lines were the ones that were being threatened. Any update on that?
Southern California Edison telephone lines, Dustin, is that what
transmission
power
lines?
Is that
power lines? Any
other transmission lines that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Any transmission lines
Just
that I know that it was.
The question was about Edison. They've shut power off to this area. Just because we have a lot of equipment up there and there's a lot of wires that crisscross that canyon, so they've shut down power to that area. They've shut down power to some of the other locations as well. I don't know if that was in relation to the fire itself or was it part of that planned power outage and stuff. But right now we do have fire in this area. The lines have been de-energized, which is a good thing.
All right. Sorry about interrupting you there, Dustin. And then just as far, I know I asked you a little bit about structures, but no confirmation of anything that has been affected up until this point.
No, we've had some reports of like some secondary buildings, outbuildings and stuff that would burn, but we haven't had any confirmation of any structures lost. So that's a good thing. That's a testament to the folks that are out here doing that structure protection. Yeah, we're just concerned again when those rain totals start to head, and I'm sure Brooke's been talking about when the storm's supposed to arrive. We're looking forward to it in the fact that if it comes, and it's not going to come in one steady downburst, but it's going to kind of help us by just kind of coating this land and putting that fire out in all those little hot spots. But we're going to be here for days to come.
Awesome. Well, Mike, thank you so much for taking your time. I know it's late, but I know back home that's information that everybody wants to know. This is right off of Painted Cave, former 30-year-old burn scar area, but as Mike was talking about houses, beyond that, right now, structure protection doing everything in their power to make sure that they're keeping all the homes safe and that people are out of there and headed off to safety. So, Brooke, Dustin, we've been out here all night. The wind is kind of been the theme of our live shots. It's been dead. It's picked up. It's gone north. It's gone south. It's done everything in every location that we've seen, which has made the fire incredibly unpredictable. So if there's anything, while we're on, if you want to ask me about the locations we've been, the difference in some of the fires, go right ahead.
Well, Chance, just talking about those weather conditions out there right now, you've been talking obviously about these winds. Just